Good morning, everybody, and welcome to week 4. It is hard to believe, at least it is for me, that we are at the end of this week, a quarter of the way through the semester already. I don't know, maybe it's just me. This semester seems like it's moving so fast. At any rate, I hope that the semester is going well for you, and I hope that the unit that we're working on right now is also going well for you. Your main task this week is to finish Barefoot Gen 1. And don't panic, but I am also introducing our second writing assignment this week. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'll put a different video in the writing assignment page so that way you can take a look at that. But this writing assignment essentially asks you to think about, it says here the value of perspective, but kind of think about the value of perspective, the importance of perspective, right? Our focus for this unit has been on the concept of the single story, and we're kind of using that lens to think about our own lives, think about kind of our own experiences in the world, but then to also kind of think about this historical event of the bombing of Hiroshima, and to kind of now think about, okay, so if I'm going to think about single story, Hiroshima, think about perspectives. This week you're going to hear from the pilots who flew the plane. You'll learn a little bit more about what the United States knew, about how President Truman kind of informed the states in the world really about what had happened, why it had happened, and just kind of thinking about now for us in this modern age, right? What it means to have that value of perspective, to have multiple voices, to have multiple perspectives on an experience, a situation, an event, our own lives, right? And so that's kind of what we're going to be exploring a little bit in the second writing assignment for this semester. But you'll be able to find all the information in that page about that. And like I said, I'll put another video there as well. You'll also see that there are several writing skills pages this week. And again, these are just to remind you about the writing, right? I know for some of you, you've had maybe a semester or a year or however long since you last took English 100. And so these pages really are just a reminder for you about writing an essay and the writing process in general. Especially if you know that you struggle with thesis statements, and if you struggle with having the 3-part thesis, right? My essay is going to be about cats, dogs, and ponies. And what's paragraph 1? Cats. Paragraph 2, dogs. Paragraph 3, ponies, right? If that's how you structure your essays, then for sure I want you to read this page on the essay structure overview, because that thesis is called a 3-part thesis and is not what we're going to be working on in this class at all. It's too limiting. It was okay in high school. It helps you learn the structure. You maybe could have gotten by with it in English 100 if you had an instructor that allowed you to use that. But in 221 and in 230, because the topics that we're dealing with are more complex, they're more complicated, they're more layered, they're more nuanced, those kind of formulaic thesis statements, they no longer serve you. They are more limiting. They tend to kind of truncate your thinking, and that's not what we want on any level. And so we're really going to be actively working against that 3-part thesis. But if you know in yourself, if you know that that is kind of your favorite, comfortable sweater, your best pair of fitting jeans, your favorite shoes, it's like what you use when you write. You're like, oh, I got my thesis formula. Then understand that this might be a little bit challenging for you. But start by reading this essay structure overview. Okay, the roadmap is here. It's another tool for you to use if you like organizing your thinking. If you kind of like writing an outline before you write. So the roadmap is another way for you to just kind of get your brain going as far as the pre-writing goes. It's not required. It's not an assignment. It's just something there that's there for you. Excuse me. Oh, I sneeze. And then the conferencing. So you saw in the advice from last semester's students, a lot of them said conference with Miller, meet with her. I would encourage you to do that. It's a recommendation for you to meet with me at least once during each major writing assignment. So I would encourage you to do that. Again, not a requirement, but I would encourage you to do that. So again, as I mentioned, some of the additional content on top of Barefoot Gen for this week is a letter that was found that he had drafted to then President Obama. There's some videos here with the crew of the Enola Gay and some writings from their family members. And then there's a little collection here about what America knew. So there's some articles there. There's a really fascinating Reddit thread. I know it's on Reddit, but it's super interesting with people kind of contributing from all over the world about what they knew, how they knew it, what they were taught about the bombing of Hiroshima. And I always think that that was very interesting. And then I included the movie here. It's an anime film. If you decide you want to watch it, don't watch it until after you've finished the book. The movie includes the first and the second book. All right, remember Barefoot Gen is a 10-book series. We're only reading the first book. The movie includes book 1 and book 2. You can get to the end of book 1 in about 45 minutes, but it's very graphic. I will say that. Or at least I found it to be very graphic. So just be aware if you decide you want to watch the movie that I felt like the depiction of the bombing was, it matches what you see in the text. I'll say that. But it's just in cartoon form. All right, you have a couple of engagements on Discord this week about, the first one here is about content from week 4. And then the rhetorical situation is kind of one of our rhetoric focuses for the week. You may know about this from English 100, right? Reader, writer, purpose. And so this really kind of deepens that idea of, who's involved when we sit down to read, and thinking about not only ourselves as the writer, but who is our audience, the reader, right? And so the rhetorical situation kind of provides information about that. Your primary piece of writing this week is your response for Barefoot Gen. And your response for Barefoot Gen is asking you to think about the rhetorical situation that he's writing in. So you need to be kind of familiar with this concept of the rhetorical situation in order to complete this response for Barefoot Gen. And that's due by the end of the week. Your writing territory for the week focuses on the colon. And just again, one more note about the writing territories. Remember that when you complete the writing territories, right, you do not have to write about the mentor text. So if you want to write about the mentor text, you can, but the mentor text is there just to show you the skill in real life, right? Like, what does the colon look like in an essay? What does the semicolon look like in a piece of writing? What does the short sentence look like in a piece of writing? Right, the mentor texts are there just so that you can see how writers are actually using this skill, right? So don't feel like you have to write about the content of whatever mentor text is, right? You can still write about whatever you want. Just, I want you to try to be using that skill. Okay, so again, primary focus this week, finish Barefoot Gen. Make sure you're hopping onto Discord and engaging into some conversation there, especially as we move into working on the essay. So the rough draft of the essay will be due next week, not until later in the week, but it will be due next week. And I'll be giving you feedback on that rough draft. So more to come on that front. But this week, make your focus the text, reading the additional pieces of information about perspective. I would encourage you to at least read through the writing assignment so that you know what's coming. And then if you have other questions, don't hesitate to let me know. One final thing. My student hours this week are a little bit different. On Tuesday, I have student hours from 10 to 12. That's the same. Wednesday evening, 7 to 8. But I will not have any on Thursday. On Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I'll be pretty much unavailable. I'm going to be heading down to LA. My dad's having quadruple bypass surgery. And so I may be answering emails here and there, but I'm not going to be holding any kind of student hours on Thursday. So if you need to get a hold of me, feel free to send me an email. Yeah, and I will be responding to emails here and there. Might be kind of weird times of day, that kind of thing. Last thing. Um, for your single story assignments, I sent out an email and I posted it on Discord that I had finished reading everybody's, but there are a handful of folks who didn't give me access. And if that was the case, I sent you a message to your Google Doc and in Canvas email. So please, please make sure that you are checking your Canvas email. If you have any notifications there, make sure you're opening those to check. You don't want to be the student who comes to me at the end of the semester and realizes they've had X's in the gradebook because I haven't been able to read anything. So please make sure that you're checking there. If you are confused about how to give me editing access, there's a video in the assignment that walks you through it. Send me an email. We can Zoom about it. I'm happy to show you how that process works if you have any confusion at all. But I want to make sure that I'm able to give you feedback. And for a good handful of you, I don't have access. So yeah, check your email. If you have questions, by all means, let me know. Happy week 4, and we will talk soon.